Thank you for coming to my interview. Um, let's start with introduction. So, if you don't mind, I first tell something about myself. My name is Tsarina, and I'm the owner of translation agency and language school called Tsarina Translations and Language School.
Mhm.
I'm an officially sworn translator of Russian to Dutch, and I'm a teacher of English, Russian, and Spanish, and I also teach Dutch as a second language.
Okay.
Originally, I'm a maritime engineer, and I now teach maritime English and business English in order to prepare people for job interview. So my hobbies are playing tennis and acting in movies. I also make subtitles for movies for foreign film festivals.
Okay.
So now I would like to ask you, who are you and where are you from and what do you do? Can you give a short introduction of yourself?
Sure. So my name is Himanshu Suri. I'm originally from India. I'm living in Netherlands for 11 years now, and uh, I'm a software engineer by profession. I came 11 years back to work for a company here, and since then I've been working in mostly in Randstad area. Most of my companies where I worked were primarily international, apart from a couple of experiences where it was a very Dutch team. Yeah.
And what made you choose to start your life in the Netherlands?
Um, so I was working for a company back in India, and that was one of the best companies available in my city. So if I had to move to even a better company, I had to change my city. So I thought, why not look for a job outside of India then? And one thing went linked to another happened, and I landed a job in this company in Amsterdam.
Wow, but it was the first country where you came, or did you go to another countries before?
Now, this is the first country that I came outside of India.
And in which city are you from?
I'm from New Delhi.
New Delhi.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And can you tell me about a specific thing you had never done before?
After coming to Holland, you mean?
Yeah.
What I've never done before, but I did after coming to Holland was so Netherlands and India are quite different culturally, right? So in India, you don't talk about uh, introducing yourself is never considered a part of conversation, just
Mhm.
like what we did now, right? So you talked about yourself and what you do, what you like. That's considered as something which is bragging about yourself or just I mean it doesn't add any value to the conversation, so why to add it? That's the perception, right? So that's something which was a bit of a hard, because everywhere I go people would ask me about me and myself and my hobbies, and I was very uncomfortable discussing that.
Yeah, it's yeah, and something else maybe.
uh, the other thing, of course, what Dutch are very unpopular about is their openness in communication, as in they'll just put it out there without even thinking whether it's the proper, most politically correct statement they have made or not. So that's also something which, I mean, you are in a meeting and suddenly one guy says, "Oh, this is nonsense." You are in a group of 5, 6 people, and suddenly, out of nowhere, you hear this statement, and you wonder what happened. But yeah, that's another thing which you feel is quite different.
Yeah, it's right that Dutch are very direct.
Correct.
Yeah, and um, describe a situation in which you embraced a certain cultural aspect of the Netherlands, the language or people. This that was a major departure from the old way of how you did things in your country.
I think work-wise, I would say again, there's a huge cultural difference. In India, if there's a deadline, you have to finish the work in that deadline. But that which basically means you might be cutting corners. And here, when I joined this first company, I said, okay, I can finish this thing. And then I went back to my manager, said, I think I'm done 80%, but I still need to, the 20% is still left. He said, okay, take your time. There's no rush. Make sure it's 100% and then you come to me. So that was also a cultural difference there. The focus on getting things done and to your satisfaction, and not based on the timelines or deadlines only.
So you like it?
Yes, definitely, because in the long run, that those 20% will pay you back the time you spend extra on that.
Yeah, it's great. And can you describe a situation in which you were embarrassed or ashamed or felt uncomfortable or awkward?
Yeah, quite a few. How many do you want?
I'll tell all of them.
uh,
I have time.
um, so I think the biggest struggle I always had was meeting people outside of work in a social environment, because it's very uh, it's very acceptable that you go out with him, order a drink, you take the drink in your hand and you chat, and you take a sip and drink and chat. So it's part of the culture, right? And if I'm going out, then I had the habit of finishing whatever drink I had in my hand. I had a habit of finishing it rather quickly. So, which gives the people an impression that I'm really thirsty. So that was always the situation where people say, "Are you okay? You feel very thirsty?" And the other thing is, uh, when you're sitting on a table, there's a certain way you have to hold your hand, knife, and your fork, which is different here than it was in India. So that's always the thing that when my Dutch colleagues will finish their food, they put the knife and the fork in a certain way, indicating that they're done and they don't want anything. And I'll be doing in the other way. So they'll be always correcting me, oh, do it like that, or do it like that. So
It's because you eat with hands normally, or
no, no, yeah, at home we do, but even if we are outside, we don't do that. But we use knives and forks. But then the way you hold knife and fork is opposite to what is done
oh,
here.
oh, really? So another hand, then
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, okay. It's funny that they comment on you. Yeah, yeah. Something else?
No, that's it, I
That's
guess.
it for now. Okay, and describe a time when you felt stressed or overwhelmed, or maybe disconnected with people or culture, and how did you handle it?
I think during the initial days, it was a bit overwhelming, uh, primarily because of the directness in the communication. You finish your job and you feel that you did a good job, but when it comes to the feedback, you get very direct feedback, which can at times could also disappoint you that you didn't do a good job. And I felt a bit stressed initially, as in I was not clear what the expectation was. That was not clearly mentioned, and I did based on my understanding and my experience, and it was not appreciated. So that became a bit stressful.
Yeah, I can understand.
Also, the other thing, and socially, I mean, it's a very organized society. Everything is done as per a plan. So if you have to do something at a spur of a moment, that's not possible. So you cannot just visit a place and or visit a friend. You have to make an appointment and make sure that they are available, and then you announce that in advance, and then and remind them just in case you don't forget it, and so on. So that was also at times becoming too much of work to just meet someone.
And now you get used to this.
Now you slowly get used to it. Yeah.
So you just make your appointments 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
sometimes, not always.
Not always. No.
Okay. And what is the biggest misconception the natives have about you? And why do they think that?
The biggest misconceptions natives, one is that we are Indians are very good in computers. So everywhere I go, they say, "Okay, can you fix my PC?"
Mm. And
So
are you?
that's
Are
kind
you
of a
good?
stereotype.
But you are good with computers, I think.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Are you okay? Okay.
Uh, I think the misconception in terms of Dutch towards Indians, yeah, it's probably related to food. Every Indian food is a curry in Dutch people's eyes, which is not the case.
Mm. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah. And do you ever feel judged?
Not sure what you mean.
Um, mm, Maybe the people are commenting
Mhm.
on what you are doing or what you are saying in negative way.
Uh, I don't think I ever faced that, at least not in a professional environment. There were always some jokes being cracked on cultures and behaviors, and that was in, I think, in both directions. But I don't think I ever felt, at least in not in my professional experience, I felt that.
Oh, it's good. You're lucky. Yeah, you're just very concentrated to your job, and yeah, maybe you just do not notice anything.
Maybe.
And tell me about one of your favorite experiences in the Netherlands.
Um, I think one of the most favorite experience was, so I was new. I was living in Almere, and I was new, probably 2 months old in Netherlands, and I was looking for an address, and there were no smartphones at that time, so you cannot use Google Maps or anything to walk through. So on my laptop, I looked for it on maps, and then I draw a picture and with some street names, and I walked, and then I lost my way. And there was this gentleman walking with his grocery bag in his hand, and I asked him, "Do you know where is this address, and uh, how can I reach?" And said, "No, I don't know, but I live close by. Why don't you come, and then I'll look it on internet, and then I'll help you with that." I think that was something which really that's really I appreciated a lot, and still I remember that. So.
It's very nice. And do you make friends here in the Netherlands? And who are your friends?
Yes, I've made a lot of friends now. So my first two friends were with whom I used to play squash in The Hague,
Mm.
and we still meet and chat and go outs. Not that much these days, but still we are in a constant touch over on phone. I have other friends from previous companies. Either I have moved on or they have moved on, but we still are in touch. And we have friends from my Toastmasters club, which we meet outside as well. And then we have friends from some family circles, as in from children's and their circles. So
And um, are these also, do you have also Dutch friends or are they all foreigners?
I have Dutch friends, I have Indian friends, I have people from France, Germany, different parts of the world,
And
Brazil, Cameroon.
okay, and regarding Dutch people, which qualities do you really like in Dutch people? Or you would
Uh,
like to have a friend with these qualities, or you have a friend and you admire the qualities he has.
I think a couple of things which I admire a lot about Dutch and their upbringing is, one is the directness brings honesty. So if something is bad, they will say it's bad. They'll not say it's very good and it's ultimate and it's a wonderful job and maybe you could have done a little bit this and that, and so they'll just say, no, this is good and this is, I like this, I don't like. I appreciate that. That saves a lot of uh, trying to figure out what exactly the meaning is. And the second thing is they're very focused. I feel, at least the people I know who are Dutch, uh, they are in different phases of their careers, but uh, they have a passion for something and they'll go for and work for it, work with it for some time.
Hmm.
So they don't get disturbed or distracted by things that easily, I feel.
Yeah, great answer. Yeah. And tell me about something you really miss from your own culture.
Uh, I think so. In India, it's very common to have a very large friend circle and and a large family. I think, which basically means there will be plenty of human interactions and plenty of opportunities to meet people. I think that's something which is not that much here in Netherlands. Plus, I don't like this appointment culture. I mean, it's there, it's good, but I don't want it to enforce it for everything.
Oh, you have an apartment in Amsterdam.
No, the appointment culture.
Oh, appointment. No, I okay. Yeah. Yeah, you cannot change it. So if you live here, you need to adjust.
Yeah,
Yeah. And tell me about the biggest challenge you have to deal with in the Netherlands, and how did you adapt to that change?
biggest challenge. Um, I think biggest challenge was, if I speak professional, it was the attitude which I mentioned earlier. The the focus on getting the thing done properly and not just getting done within time. I think that was the biggest learning I've had so far in my life, in my professional career. And socially, uh, yeah, it's just a different society. There are different priorities here as compared to what I have set in my mind. So it's always a challenge still.
And what would be your priorities and priorities of Dutch?
So for me, the priority would be family. So I mean, I can drop to my parents' place anytime, and they can come to my place anytime. But here it's again, I'm going back to the appointments that you have to make an appointment, and only then you can visit, even if you're a child or a parent still.
So you can do it differently with your family then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me about the toughest decision you had to make in the last 6 months or longer.
Uh, toughest decision. Um, yeah, that's again professional, I guess. Is that what you're looking for?
Um, tell me what you think. What's on your mind?
Okay. Well, professionally, there was a situation in my workplace, and it was not working out with a colleague of mine. And the toughest decision was to whether we should continue and try to improve, or should it just call it as it is and stop it. So that was one of the toughest decisions to make.
And maybe in your life in general in the Netherlands, what was for you 11 years you are here? So what was the toughest decision?
I think the toughest decision was whether we should buy a house or not.
Oh, where whether you should buy a house or just rent it, or
Yeah,
and
yeah, it was because house comes with a lot of commitment, right? And you need to have a proper plan, and you need to know where you want to live and what you like, what the future would be, how you see the future in that place, and so on. So there was just too many complications there. So yeah, that was a tough decision to make.
so you bought the house finally?
Eventually.
Eventually, when?
2017.
Ah, okay, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you happy with this decision? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, A house is an ongoing process. You're never done, right? So
But you should be happy now because now the market is crazy. The prices are very high. So it seems you bought it in the
mhm.
right time.
That way, yes, that is true. Definitely, that's if in the hindsight, that was definitely a good decision. But what I meant was like, I mean, we could have looked into another house as well and could have a different structure and so on. So that never ends.
Or maybe just to rent a house, to follow renting house.
Mhm.
If you want to change, if you want to change, it's easier.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's the flexibility with renting house, right? You can
yeah.
change the house, you can change the locality. So
But you are going to stay in Amsterdam
uh, at least
now,
for now, yes.
for now, because your house is in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it's ongoing process. You need to make some repairs and yeah,
Yeah. Fix
need
some
used to
things.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's correct. Yeah. And describe me a time when you applied for a job and how did it go? Because it's not your first job or it's still the first job now.
No, it's not. How did it go? It's very different actually. Hiring the hiring process in Netherlands is very different from the hiring process in India.
Really?
Uh, yeah,
Tell me.
what this is just my personal experience. What I feel is that when I apply for a role here, people not just look into the CV, but also like what kind of hobbies I have, what kind of experience I've in the past in my life, and so on. And they see if I've what kind of personality and character I have, and then whether I'll fit in the existing team. So there's a lot of thought given on the personality and the personality mix in the team and the fit, and not just on the skills that you have, I feel. And there were times when uh, everything went fine, but it was the offer was not given because yeah, they didn't felt it was a fit. And there was also time when I felt it was a very crappy interview I gave, and it turned out that, oh yeah, it's a fit.
And did you change a lot of jobs?
uh, Not a lot, I think 2 or 3.
Oh, and what were these for companies?
Sorry.
Which companies it were?
uh, so so I've worked as a freelancer for some time as a contractor, and I was working for a bank called ING. I'm right now with the company called TomTom, and yeah.
Oh, nice. It's a good company.
Yeah, it's a good company. Yes, it's
It's
a
okay.
very Dutch company.
Very Dutch company. But is it okay for you, or are you thinking of changing your job?
No, it's good.
It's good. Now you have to because you have a house. You have to pay the rent.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
There's a saying that if you don't like your job, then get a mortgage.
Yeah. I never heard about this, but it's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the biggest goal you have achieved here?
Well, it was not really a goal when I moved in, but I never thought I will work as a contractor, uh, and I was able to work for a few years. So I feel happy about that. I learned a lot in those 4 years, not just professionally but also personally.
And what, yeah, okay, yeah. And did you learn Dutch too?
Yes and no. I've learned Dutch multiple times, but most of the time I never practice it enough, so I always forget after some time.
Oh, you speak English at home or in Hindi or
Yeah,
what? Hindi?
English and Hindi at home, and Dutch is only when it's you're visiting government office or something. I try to practice, but eventually the person on the other side gives up, and then we talk in English.
But you moved here with your family or alone?
Alone.
Alone. Then you met somebody here?
And no, I met my wife in India. I mean, it was an arranged marriage.
It wasn't arranged marriage?
It was an
It
arranged
was.
marriage. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
I didn't know that you still have arranged marriages.
They're still there.
Oh, and how does it work?
Well, it's as per definition, as in the parents meet parents and then they chat and then that's it, I guess. And then yeah, the girl and the boy will meet, and if they like it and they say okay, if they don't like it they say sorry, that's it.
And are you like it? Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, at home you feel safe, you feel loved, you feel peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're lucky if you're chosen by your parents' wife.
Yeah, very much.
Wow, you're lucky then. You're a lucky person because it's not always like this. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And what is your vision for future?
Ooh, vision for future.
What do you want?
Mhm.
What do you really want from life?
Yeah, it's a very tough question, Sarina.
Yeah, it's, I know. I know it's very difficult, but maybe you have some goals or what?
Yeah, I have some professional goals to achieve. I also, I mean, I want to give a TED talk.
Mm,
That's one of my goals in life.
very nice.
Then, what else? I think that's it. And having a happy, healthy family.
Yeah. Do you have children?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's very important, you said, for you. It's like on the first place, your family, I think, and your
Mhm.
children. Yeah. And after it, the work and speeches come.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. And I would like to ask now some questions about learning a new language.
Sure.
Because firstly, you need to learn Dutch when you come here. Although the most of the Dutch speak English, you will feel closer to them and they to you if you can speak their language.
Mhm.
But it's also not because of the language, but also because of society and the culture. You would understand better. So,
Right.
what do you think? Why is it so important to learn a new language quickly? Or maybe you think it's not important for you?
I think each culture, each language has its own. They have evolved over centuries, so they have their own learnings. And there's some things which are best described if you understand the language. And I mean, in this particular case, if you move to Holland, it's, I mean, if you are in big cities in Holland, it doesn't matter whether you speak Dutch or not. But if you go to a small village or a town, it becomes very, very important that you understand the language and you communicate in that language. But what I've seen is that even in big cities, if you even if you don't know Dutch, if you try and show an effort that you're trying to speak in Dutch, so that in front of the locals, I think they appreciate that as well.
Right. Yeah. And what is the one most important thing to you in how to learn a new language?
Uh, that is very tough. I think people, I'm not 100% sure, I'm not a language expert, but people often tend to start with the fundamentals like alphabets and sounds. And
Mhm.
uh, I feel that we should probably start with simple sentences, which are communication. I mean, which are used in daily life, not like this is a sun, this is a moon, but more like, hey, how are you? How's life? How was your weekend? Those kind of things. So if you start with conversation, at least the confidence comes up when you're talking in front of people. And yeah, probably somewhere in the middle, you should focus on the alphabets and the sounds. And then if you want to go further, then yeah, then you go for even deeper in the language.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's my opinion. But as
Good.
I said, I'm not a
Yeah.
language expert.
No, but good point because I'm asking you. Just your opinion is matters. And what is the biggest challenge when it comes to learning a new language for you?
I think I think for me the challenge personally is the hindrance in trying to speak it up. the inhibition in trying to speak in that new language. And unless that is gone, you can never. I mean, the willingness to fail and made fun of, because you obviously make mistake, you pronounce things differently, probably badly. I think if you get rid of that, then you can learn any language, I feel.
And how is it about you? You are you afraid to make mistakes or not?
Initially, it was fine. I didn't care it, but then if you make the same mistake over and over and you don't improve, then people make fun of you.
Oh, but when you remember.
Yeah, but it should also come back to the system and you improve, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it's maybe tough when people are laughing
Yeah,
at you, but actually after maybe you are going to say it right finally. Maybe it
eventually,
will
one
help.
day. Yeah,
Or if or another way, maybe it will not help, and you just be silent, and you will be afraid next time to tell something. It could be both
it
ways.
could go both ways. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It depends on the person, I think. Yeah. And if you want to study Dutch, how would you search for a course?
So initially, my companies were providing some courses,
Hmm.
and I used them and did some homework every now and then to make it better. Uh,
And which
if
company it was? What was the name?
IMC,
IMC.
yeah.
Yeah. And now your company now is doing something?
No, they don't
Oh,
provide any Dutch courses, TomTom.
no. Oh, it's a
No.
pity because it's like looks like international company to me.
Yeah,
Maybe it's,
it is definitely, but they don't have this policy at this point. So
and the language in the company, is it English or
yeah,
Dutch?
English.
English. Ah, okay. That's why it's international company. The language is English, and they think, okay, it's okay. Everybody speak English. Yeah.
Yeah, so not in the company itself, but outside people have to interact in Dutch. So all government communication is in Dutch. All your bills are in Dutch.
Yeah. But
So
how would you
things.
search for course now? If you now want to speak English, English Dutch,
Uh,
what
I'll
resources would you use?
I'll probably look on internet and ask around if someone has done any course with some other school, and ask them their experience, what their focus is. I mean, what is the focus of the school towards language, towards writing, and so on. And then that will probably be the way for me to decide on.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And how do you feel about learning a new language online, like we are doing now via Zoom, Skype, or Teams?
I don't think that's a big problem. I think, yeah, of course, that's not as the same experience as face to face or personal coaching, but otherwise, I don't. It's for at least for language learning, I don't think it's a big deal unless you have to do some kind of enactment or presentation or a skit.
Yeah, yeah, that's good point. And what's the most interesting thing about you that's not mentioned before? Tell me something unique about you, what I didn't know, what I don't know, what I didn't ask.
There's nothing unique about me. It's so. Uh,
Something you didn't mention before, but want to say.
yeah, it's. I don't know what to say.
You are very, very quiet person and peaceful, and yeah, I feel it. So very concentrated. I think serious for your job and for your family, and yeah, right? Or,
Yeah, probably.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just the first meeting, and um, these were the questions, and I think the important in learning language just not strive for perfection, but strive for passion and commit to your dream. and just to enjoy from learning a new language and also being a new culture and with new people. So if you know somebody struggling with the language,
Yeah,
I will be happy to help.
sure.
And yeah, you enjoy the journey and just go for it. And wishing you much more success.
Thank you.
So
Too.
then thank you and see you. See you
Sure.
later. Yeah.
Thanks.